I'm not sure if you guys follow my channel or anything like that, or more like what has happened to me prior to my channel, but in case you haven't noticed, and for those of you who hasn't been with me for a while, well, it's been 5 years. 5 years exactly of how long I've been on YouTube, specifically this account. If you want to talk technically, I've been on way earlier, but no, that's not the point. The point is, this is my 5-year anniversary, in terms of being on YouTube, and well, I'm not sure what other I have to say to it, other than, well, I have this video idea I want to do, which is what I'm doing now. I kind of want to go over how I got into this situation, aka how did I quote unquote become SuperBearNeo, and the circumstances behind it. Because surprised to say, there were some pretty random circumstances that I'm kind of glad, bummed out definitely, but glad happened as to allow me to become what I really wanted to be. So, with that being said, you can consider this a quote-unquote origin story if you want to be stupid like that or something. But yeah, this is quote-unquote the reasoning why I became SuperBearNeo and what pushed me to want to do YouTube to begin with. Yeah, enjoy the tale, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so let's get into it. Before we talk about how I became a YouTuber and what made me become one of those channels on YouTube that talks about debating and stuff, we have to go further back, way beyond that. Let's go to a time where Omniversal Battle Dome was the main wiki, and Versus Battle Wiki was kind of taking off basically, and when forums were basically the main mode of debating, as they say. You know, your comic vines, Naruto forums, etc, etc. I have always been a person who loves to discuss who will win between this and that and whatever, but what really propelled me online, that is well, those forums, specifically Comic Vine, and unfortunately my old account, I don't remember it and it's gone, but Comic Vine and Naruto forums were like two places that I always look, to be frank, you know, and they're kind of what propelled me to become a debater. Well, a fictional debater and all that stuff. Yeah. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because this kind of paints a picture of what I did and what I wanted to do beforehand. And mind you, I didn't have any intentions of becoming a YouTuber that talked about debating and all that stuff. I've always just wanted to, you know, keep to myself and just like discuss the topics and all that. And to this day, I kind of still do, really. But point is, I've always been into fictional debating and I've always found it interesting. I don't find it competitive, and I didn't even really get competitively into it until Google Plus came around and someone brought me to that. But that's a whole different discussion though, and a whole different story to begin with. Point is, Comic Vine, OBD, and Naruto forums were like major inspirations for me, and they're kind of what led me to YouTube. But before that, yeah, I've always used to hang around those three sites and all that stuff. But there was one thing that always caught my attention, and it was these who can defeat videos. And you know, not who can defeat videos, but videos talking about, you know, topics like this on YouTube. Because even back then, they were around before there was Seth and before there was Chuck. There were people who were doing this around, and quite frankly, they're still nostalgic to me if I'm being honest with you. But there was many of them. There was your Beyonders, you know, there was your Ryan Burns and all them, you know, who made all these type of videos, you know. And I've seen a lot of videos like who can defeat Superman and Goku, all of these type of videos, mainly because it's just interesting to see that these characters that are beyond, you know, we usually associate Superman and Goku with strength, but it's also interesting to see characters that are not of them, but are also pretty powerful within their own right as well. But back on topic. There was one particular YouTuber who, even to this day, is a huge inspiration to me. Not only is a huge inspiration to me, but someone who, as far as a YouTuber goes, is someone who I hold close to me. And all that stuff. And I've even had interactions with him from time to time. Weapon X Sigma. You probably already know him for how many times I've brought him up so many times, you know. Weapon X Sigma is my biggest inspiration. And someone who, if there was anyone if I would be like a fanboy over, it would be him. And you know, the funny thing is, it's not even like he was like famous or anything like that, or even like did anything, you know, significant. He made who can defeat videos, but he did them in a way that was so cool, and I loved it. For me, he kind of was the inspiration for me and that stuff, and he's kind of what made me want to do the Who Can Defeat as a whole. But we're kind of getting ahead of myself. But yeah, there was someone named Weapon X Sigma who, by the way, you should check out. Even if he hasn't been active as of late, his videos have a certain nostalgia factor to him, and they're really good, honestly, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, he is someone who I've always watched, and even to this day I will watch some of his videos for nostalgia's sake and all that stuff. Now, the reason why I'm also bringing him up is because here's where we're starting to get to the YouTube part. I've always had a YouTube account and all that stuff. That's not anything new. And I've had like 2 accounts. One, SuperBear is High, and 2, Isaac Freemason. We're going to get to that second account later because it's actually really important to what I'm about to discuss here. But I've always had an account called SuperBear is High, and if you look it up, it's still there. It's still there. As cringy as that stupid ass name is, and I really hate it so much. That was my first account. And if you look on the video that's on there, which, by the way, I'm going to get to that now. Within the right of, Weapon X Sigma and all that stuff, and within his, like, blessings, I made a video on who can defeat Goku, or, like, Dragon Ball or something like that. Yeah, I did that. And that was the first taste of what will become my Who Can Defeat series. And I wouldn't call it mine, per se, but I kind of just changed it in a way that I made it my own, although I still respect Weapon X Sigma at the end of the day, the massive inspiration for me, and it's kind of the OG of that stuff, But yeah, that was my first take on the Who Can Defeat series, and as you can tell, it was bad, it was awful. Not because of, like, who was in the video, but mainly because, I wasn't using any editing program and that stuff. Not only that, but I was in my teens too, so obviously I'm not going to be, well, then again, that doesn't really excuse much, but, I was a teen, so, that was my first video I've ever made ever, and surprisingly, it got some attention, more than what I would expect, because I was a small person. I was non-existent within the landscape of YouTube as it is, So it got some attention. I got some comments and all that stuff, and those comments are still to today. And looking back at it now, it's kind of interesting to see how far I've come. Not only in like what I believe in fictional characters, but also just because of debate, but like my debating technique and all this other stuff. Yada yada yada, all that stuff. It's really crazy and really interesting to see, man, and I love it so much. But yeah, so I always plan to make another video on that channel, but then here's where the event happened, and this leads into SuperBearNeo territory. So one of my accounts got hacked. It was basically SuperBear's High. That was my main account. It got hacked. Whoever hacked it, I don't know. I'll probably never know in my life who hacked my account and all that stuff, but basically I got hacked out of it and I couldn't access it. And I was frustrated a bit. I was really frustrated because I've finally gotten an audience, even if it's a very minuscule one. It was glad to have an audience and have people have eyes on you, It was really good. But, I was kind of frustrated and I was a bit upset that I lost my account. So, what I did with that is, even though I couldn't access that account, there was always had a second account. That was Isaac Freemason. And if you remember on some videos, I've commented on that before. You may even see some of the old comments, maybe. But yeah, Isaac Freemason, that was one of my second accounts. So what I did was I changed it. I changed it into what will become SuperBearNeo. Now you may be asking, why did you even name yourself SuperBearNeo? Well, I've said this before, but it comes from many different things. One, super. I love the word super, and also I've kind of associated with Nintendo, Super Nintendo, which also is one of my favorite companies of all time, because I love Nintendo. So I add super in there, then there's Neo. As you can probably tell with my avatar, I'm also, because of the fact I'm a huge Digimon fan, I love Neo, so I put that as my part of the name. That's the last part. But then there's Bear. Bear's the most elusive one, but, I love bears, I don't care, I will defend bears. Brown bears are cute, grizzly bears are murderers, but still kind of adorable. It doesn't matter. I love bears. Bears are awesome. I love them. So when I combined these 3 things, I made SuperBearNeo, and I love the name. It sticks, so I kept with it. But yeah. So yeah, that's how I got my name, and that's how I got my identity, SuperBearNeo. And when I got this account, I wanted to continue what I have done on SuperBear's High, So I made a video which is now deleted because it was garbage, but if you look on my first video, my edited video, it was originally who can defeat Superman and Goku. That's originally what it was. So instead of just doing who can defeat Goku, it was Superman added in and that stuff. But yeah, I deleted the first video I ever made, and if you look on my edited video, which is my first video ever, that's basically the remnants of it. There's no annotations, which there used to be when annotations were a thing. So yeah, think of that as Superman vs. Goku as my first video. It just isn't named that. And after that, I started getting picked. After that, you know, I started to get an audience also as well. I also made Who Can Defeat Archie Sonic, which is also what kind of picked me up as well. But you know, the biggest thing that really made me blow up in a small scale, was Google Plus, where I got the spread around my name and my things. Granted, Google Plus was cancer and I've had to experience a lot of shit, but at the end of the day, it got my name out there, and I'm kind of glad, both mad and glad that it happened, because, you know, I don't know if I would have been where I am now if it wasn't for it, and I also probably wouldn't have met many of my friends that I cherish now because of it. I wouldn't have met Flaws, I wouldn't have met Blaze, I wouldn't have met Starsprite, I wouldn't have met Louise, Joda, I wouldn't have met so many people, man. I wouldn't have met Wish, I wouldn't have met all these good people that I adore so much. I know, you know, there's a lot of people I can mention. I wouldn't have met Chaos. Chaos is someone who I met on YouTube, and he's probably one of my closest friends of all time, man. Even though I didn't meet him on Google Plus, I met him on YouTube I think even back then when my name was Super was High, I'm not sure. But yeah, he's like one of my first friends. Him, Yoda, and Zertut, those are like my 3 earliest friends I've ever met. And to this day, they're some of my closest friends I've ever had in my life, and I'm glad to have them. But the point is, yeah, I've had a lot of people that I've met. And dude, and the funny thing about it is, all this came from the fact that my account got hacked. So to the hacker who hacked my account, I'm kind of a bit frustrated at you, but I'm also happy that you made me somewhat famous. Not famous in the sense that I'm a celebrity, but you know, famous in the sense that at least someone knows who SuperBearNeo is. So yeah, to that I say thank you, and to people who's been with me for a while, I really do thank you as well, man, because I do thank you for your support and that stuff. I do say that oftentimes I don't really care for my fans too much. To an extent that does hold true. I do care for a lot of my friends. That much is true. But for some randos I don't care about. Some randos that like just come on my channel and don't have much connection to me. Those are the only people I'm really talking about, you know. But point is, come a long way, and I'm kind of glad I am where I am now. You know, I do really thank you guys. So with that being said, it's been 5 years I've been on YouTube, and it's crazy. And with that also being said, that's all, folks. SuperBearNeo, peace the fuck out. See you guys. Thank you.